Good evening and welcome to the Invictus Racing League Tier 1 in partnership with gridfind.com and Venturi Studios. We are here for round number 10, or in fact the newly round number 10 here at Abu Dhabi. This is the rerun from a few weeks ago where we had some interesting lobby issues. Drivers return to Abu Dhabi to complete this evening. My name is JPH99 and joining me in the commentary box as per normal is Bruce Lee Harding. Good evening, Bruce.
Good evening, JPH. Good evening, everyone. Looking forward again to this. Obviously, as you say, a rerun of the race we tried doing earlier this season before we had multiple issues with it. That race was shaping up to be a really good race until it all sort of went a bit Pete Tong, really. So, fingers crossed we get the same again tonight. It was tight last time out, if I remember. The Astons were being fought hard by a couple of guys, so hopefully the fight can be brought to them once again tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's this week another chance here for Merc to get closer or even past Emir. As no Emir tonight, just Merc for the Aston Martins.
Absolutely. Obviously, last week, for anyone who wasn't watching, Emir crashed out at the Anderson Bridge in Singapore, and Merc took full advantage with the win, so closed the gap dramatically. He's now only 8 points behind Emir, and you'd have to fancy, to be honest, that Merc could well come out of tonight leading the championship. Absolutely.
Well, meanwhile, qualifying has already started. On board with MDJ as we head up towards the first corner of the Abu Dhabi Yas Marina circuit, 5.2 kilometres long. He goes through turn 1. Turn 2 is absolutely flat, as is 3. Just try not to go too wide. Use the curb on the inside, but can spin the car. Turn 4, flat left up towards turn number 5. This late apex hairpin. You want to get as good and as straight a run as you can onto the back straight. DRS open for the first time this lap. And you're just going to edge the car slightly more towards the middle as you hit the brakes around about 100, just before 100 metres for turn 6 and 7 through the chicane. Let's probably see a few moves through there. DRS once again as you go through the flat turn of 8. And for the qualifying, you're going to keep it to the inside to lessen the track distance before you go back out to the right. Hit the brakes just after the 50 board for turn number 9. Long, almost double apex right-hander depending on the line you take. Turns 10 and 11 absolutely flat to the board, and you're immediately anchoring onto the brakes for turn 12. Third gear as you go through the off camber of turn 13 and 14. Good old Latifi's corner. Careful with the back end might step out on you. 15's flat, and then 16 a late apex, well, sort of late apex turn. 90 degree hand down across the line. A 122.8 for MDJ. Not a bad start.
No, as you say, a good start there for MDJ, and he was one of the guys on the original attempt at this race that was putting the fight to guys at the front. So interesting to see how everyone shapes up against his lap time now. Martin's currently, I think, your next person to finish his lap. He's only 1/10 down on MDJ at the moment, so a good solid run so far for Martin on this lap as he enters the final sector.
Yeah, through the TVs he goes, and up towards 15 and 16 in the Haas. Good grid, 15 tonight. As Martin across the line, second place at 122.882. That's pretty close.
Yeah, definitely very close. And Rockley is also very similar timings as well. So yeah, very, very tight between everyone at the moment. It will be interesting to see what the likes of Mert can put in. But yeah, 22.3 for Rockley to take provisional pole.
So a good start for the Alfa Romeo. Reshka coming up to the final corner on his first attempt. It's not going to be pole, it's going to be a 123.2. He's not exactly far away from Rockley at the moment.
Currently on board with Delol. Delol's just invalidated his lap. I think this was actually an attempt at a lap. He's coming in the pits now, obviously aborting that run. He did have a huge snap out of the long left at the top of the circuit, so his lap was kind of half ruined anyway, but then ran slightly wide and invalidated. So yeah, back to the pits for Delol, get some fresh boots on and have another go shortly.
Yeah, here comes Stinos. We know he's normally a candidate for some of the circuits on his pace, and a 1:22.397 sees him second so far. Bjorn de Boer just coming up as well to finish his first lap in the Mercedes. Cross line 23.0 for Bjorn, puts himself into fifth, and I believe Ghost is on his way now. What can Ghost put in? It's a 22.5, so third place for the AlphaTauri. There's a Red Bull of Ash Tube. He goes eighth, but I think he's on a set of medium tyres. Otherwise, I think everyone else is just starting their flying laps. Or coming in on their in-laps. ARL saying that he's got difficulties with the sim setup at the moment, so that he needs to fix quickly, because obviously normally he is here, but he's obviously got the pit crew working on something on his car.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, I want to get that sorted. Owen has just spun on his. It may have been an outlap actually, because he's about to now go again. So yeah, it was an outlap for Owen. He had spun on his outlap, but he's going again. And Merck is now on for his first flying lap.
Owen won't call that a spin. He'll call that tyre warming. I think on an outlap, but Nova just coming through at the moment. He's coming towards turn 9. Merck also on a lap behind him. Then obviously Owen, the other car on a lap behind that. People yet to set time is Delal. ARL still in the pits. Schizo freeze on an outlap, and Victor also still in the pits.
Yeah, obviously a couple of these guys have had to abort their flying laps. Delal has actually now come out on his outlap, say now just to try and get a time in really before the timer runs down too quick. Yeah, Merck I think is coming up towards the end of the lap now, so here we go.
Yeah, Nova goes fourth. Merck up to the line. What's he going to do? Is a 1:22.6. Only puts him in fourth place.
Yeah, as we said last time out, it was at this circuit. It was very, very close at the front. There was a few guys that were in the battle for the race win. So Merck's not going to have the benefit tonight either of the partnership he has with Emir with working together on the circuit. So he's going to be very much under threat from quite a few of these guys. I mean, it's Excellency Ghost up in third. Stinos has been up around that sort of region for a while now. But, this is only early days in quali, so, still plenty of time to be found by a few of these guys. MDJ, I'm expecting a little bit as well. So, and he is currently on his outlap, just coming into the final sector. So, yeah, it should be interesting to see what MDJ can do compared to his first lap.
Yeah, Skeezer just going through sector 3. ARL saying it's a brake issue at the moment. He's getting a little bit of brake sticking at the moment, so hopefully his team can sort that out as quick as possible. Schizo puts himself into 9th. Delal is currently on a lap himself. Owen unfortunately bailed out of his first lap as well, so he's going to have a pretty much one run, I think, depending on how quickly he gets out of that pit lane.
Yeah, I think you'd have to be pretty quick out now to get two runs in, really, and obviously it starts to put you under pressure a little bit. I mean, we've seen guys, have that one lap at the end and sort of manage to sort of still pull it out of the bag at the end. But yeah, I'm on board with MDJ at the moment. Currently showing as a purple sector on the mini map. You never really know if that's 100% accurate. I haven't actually seen a sector time for him yet. But yeah, as he comes up to this chicane, this DRS section here as well is an interesting one. You might find during the race people tend not to overtake on the first DRS into that chicane, but will rather hover behind. I believe we did see some fun and games last time out round here.
Yeah, because obviously the detection for the second DRS zone is after the chicane, so I think what a lot of drivers tend to do is hang back going into the chicane and try and almost force the driver in front to defend, and just have that nicer line coming out of the corner, so you get the traction down and by the time you get the gear, so you tend to be already alongside. As MDJ goes second, at 122.342, so it's looking quite tight between the field so far.
Yeah, much better last sector for MDJ there. He was only just over a tenth up at the second sector, so clearly lost a bit of time in that final sector on his first lap, and has found it on the second lap, luckily for him. But yeah, very, very close at the top, as you say, less than a tenth covering the top three at the moment. It's all to play for.
Rockley a couple tenths down at the moment after his second sector. Looking to obviously try and improve on his pole position time for now. For the last sector, see if he can gain that time. Goes a little bit wide, a bit squirrely, and he does go a bit quicker, but not quick enough to improve his time. So that gap at the front will stay put. Ghost is just coming through sector 2 now as well.
Currently on board with Ashtube, who's just about to complete his lap now. This is his first run on the soft tyres. He's done some medium runs, but this is his first attempt on the quicker tyre. It'll be interesting to see where he can put himself on the grid provisionally. And up to 7th for Ashtube. So yeah, good stuff there. Only 4 tenths off the quickest time. So yeah, not a lot to find to get himself slightly further up there.
Ghost has bailed out of his lap for now. Merck's about to go start on lap. Who else do we have? I think Stinos is potentially on a lap as well as he comes through 13 and 14. And it is provisional pole for the Ferrari, a 121.9.
Owen round in the final corner as well now, but stuff in 7th. So yeah, an excellent effort there for Owen. I think he'll be pretty happy with that, to be honest. Matching Merckx as it stands, but as we know, Merckx is currently on a lap as well. Not much up at the first sector, but it is quite a short sector, not a lot to be gained there really. So yeah, as Merckx obviously comes into that chicane now at the back end of the circuit, he'll be looking really to improve now in the last sector. I think that's probably where you can gain most of your time, is that last sector really. The rest of it's pretty sort of, your times are likely to be identical. He's a 10th up at the second sector, so still not looking like he's going to be on pole at the moment.
No, this third sector is definitely one where you can improve. Obviously, just getting the traction down, trying to lay the power and get that forward momentum is quite difficult at times through this sector. So, but as you say, Merck going through the last couple of corners now. And it's second place, a 122.1, 4 tenths gain. So obviously gained quite a bit, as you say, Bruce, through that last sector.
Yeah, definitely. I think as we saw with MTJ, that's you gain time through there. That's where you'll lose it just by missing a couple of apexes through there, and especially through the Latifi's bend. If you do miss the apex there, you kind of have to wait forever to get back on the throttle, otherwise you will rotate the car. So yeah, good stuff there from Merckx. I think Ghost might well be on a fly. I'm not sure he is actually looking at that, but yeah, it's the place where you can sort of win and lose it in qualifying, really. But I think Merckx will be happy with that on the front row at the moment as it stands, and I think his main objective tonight is going to be to come out of tonight ahead of Emma.
Yeah, I mean, it's a golden opportunity to put a bit of pressure on his teammate for when Emma returns, hopefully next week. Because at this stage now of the season, obviously this is round 10, 2/3 distance in the championship, 5 rounds to go. I mean, if you're behind someone by 6-7 points, that can often be quite a hard task to kind of contain that pressure and be able to put the squeeze back on Merckx, especially on the basis that you only get 3 points extra for winning the race here in IRL with the slightly different point system. As Ghost comes into the pits. Not quite sure if Bruce is there, whether he's on mute, but
Apologies, I'm back. Sorry. Yes, technical issues mostly with the operator. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see sort of what Emir feels about this tonight as well, because obviously they want Merck to do well for the team, to try and wrap up that constructors title. I mean, they're pretty close. I don't think they can do it tonight mathematically, but they're not far off doing it now. So it's an inevitable thing. So whether he'd want Merck to be getting a result for the team, or whether or not he'd rather Merck to be put under pressure by the other guys. But yeah, a few races ago, Emir wouldn't have seen himself in this position. He had a good sizable lead after Merck had a couple of sort of issues himself with sort of disconnections and stuff. So yeah, it's definitely live in the title battle up at the front now, and it's good really, because you don't want it to sort of become a sort of stale championship towards the end. You want that sort of jeopardy towards the end, and I think we could well get it with the two Astons towards the end of the season.
yeah, exactly. As we go on board with Reshka for a lap, but putting the Aston Martin, obviously, in reality, there's not really been any team orders as such during the season. However, when you've wrapped up the team's title, as myself and you, Bruce, know very well, Reshka was a little bit wide through three almost, unsettles the car enough to make it go into the wall. That car just does not look fun to drive, does Reshka. But yeah, as much as we know very well, like once that team start was wrapped up, that's it. Gloves are off between teammates, especially if you're in a fight for position.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the one thing that the Astons have done well this year is even though there's been no like team orders and they've sort of been racing each other, they've raced each other very cleverly to the point that they've not allowed anyone else really back into some of the races. So they've managed to get themselves into this position. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they handle it once they have sort of wrapped up that team's title. I mean, you'd have to think they're probably looking at it, despite not mathematically being confirmed. They're probably looking at it knowing they're going to win the constructors. So you think it'll be gloves off straight away as soon as they meet each other, which hopefully will be next week again. Hopefully get both of them back in for the next race in China.
Yeah, absolutely. As Reshka now comes through the final couple of corners, I wouldn't say it's been an amazing lap by Reshka. The car looks tricky to drive. Car's line 126.8, so I'm guessing he might be going again. Probably turn off the ERS whilst we're on board with him. Yeah, that car just looks very tricky to drive, especially mid-apex through some of the corners.
Yeah, I think he was a bit unlucky really with the timing of the car coming out of the pit lane there on that last lap. I think he was maybe slightly distracted. No fault of the car that's coming out of the pits really. It's just an awkward pit exit really there. But yeah, I think he was a little bit distracted, hence why he ran wide. And once you've done that, you sort of can lose the rhythm quite quick. But yeah, he's clearly saved some ERS for this lap. And there's a big crash up ahead. The Lowell has ended up down the pit lane on the back straight, which is, I don't think I've ever seen a car go down there.
That is mighty impressive from DeLol. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how you do that.
I can only assume he's maybe got on the exit curve and just lost the back end. I was on board at the time with Reska, and you just saw this Mercedes just disappear off the right down the pit lane, and yeah, apparently that's out of bounds according to the game. Reska only comes in 13th place. I think it'd be I wouldn't say disappointed actually. He's only 1.2 off of Stinos's pole, and it looks like it's going to be Stinos's pole. Because I think that is it. ARL is in the pits as well, so yeah.
I wonder if ARL has been coming out to try and test the car. Not necessarily put in a lap, just try and test that car and see if it's working again. As we know, he's been having some brake problems, but it is Stinos who takes pole position with a 121.949, the only man in the 121s. And when you're the only person that gets into that sort of seconds bracket, it's quite a good feeling.
It is. Yeah, obviously it's, as you say, getting into the 121s, he'll be delighted with that. I mean, Merck is obviously only 1/10 behind, but still, it's as you say, it sounds a 121.949 1:09 sounds a lot better than the 1:22. But yeah, great effort there from Stinos, and I think Merc's going to have a few things to think about during this race.
Absolutely. And Bruce, would you like to take us through the grid for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix?
Absolutely. So yeah, Stinos excellent lap time there in the Ferrari on pole position with Merc alongside and Yaston on the front row. Rockley third with Ghost an excellent fourth. MDJ fifth with Ashtube sixth in the Red Bulls. Schizo 3 seventh. Beyond the Ball eighth. Nova ninth with Owen 10th. Martin 11th. DeLol 12th. Reska 13th. ARL and Victor 14th, 15th without being able to set times. And unfortunately, it looks like Schizo 3 has just disconnected from the session.
Which isn't ideal because it means his AI will take control of his car at the start, and he's going to have to pick the right moment to take back control of his car.
Yeah, definitely. We have seen unfortunate accidents happen from bad timing with the reconnecting the car. But as you say, he'll probably end up sinking towards the back of the field now. Before he takes control of his car, which is a big shame for Schizo 3 because that was a good effort from him in qualifying.
Yeah, so usually 7th place is pretty good in this field of drivers, and that's going to be completely ruined off the start line for him, unfortunately. Question is, what can the likes of as long as ARL's car is fixed, it'd be interesting to see what he can do from his position on the grid. But as we know, MDJ, he qualified 4th. Not the strongest of qualifiers, but very, very good when it comes to race pace. Question is, can he potentially jump one or like Rockley and Merc off the start line? If he gets that good start, he could become a bit of a threat for the victory.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and starting where he is, you're definitely not out of it, that's for sure, at that position on the grid. But yeah, you're right, his race pace has been excellent in recent weeks, and yeah, he's really sort of found, I think, the sort of the golden ticket with the car really, and yeah, hopefully he'll get involved as well. I mean, I'd like to think out of the field that are there, we could potentially see any one of maybe 5-6 drivers could win this race depending on how it goes. So yeah, we'll be interested to see what they'll do, whether they attack hard from the start or just sort of settle in a little bit and let the race unfold. But yeah, it will be very interesting to see how this progresses.
Absolutely, and welcome to anyone who has just joined the stream. This is the Invictus Racing League Tier 1 from Abu Dhabi for round number 10 in partnership with gridfind.com and Venturi Studios. Stinos is the man on pole position with Merc alongside on the front row after the 18-minute qualifying session. We're just awaiting the orders from the tier admins to get the race started. So, small amount of time. So it's the only thing I kind of wish they didn't take away was the timer for the commentators, because it's a nightmare trying to work out how much time you've got. You start talking about something and all of a sudden we're on to the grid.
Yeah, it does catch us off guard quite a lot of times, to be honest. Yeah, it's a strange omission from the game, really, to be honest. But yeah, I'd have thought hopefully by now they'd have said to ready up. So yeah, fingers crossed. We are less than 30 seconds away from the green light, but yeah, you're right. It does make it slightly awkward for us.
It's great. Nice little shot of the pit lane we got. You can see all the Red Bull mechanics. One of them looks very keen in his seat there on the right hand side. He is raring to go.
Yeah, he's the only one by the looks of it in the Red Bull garage that looks like he's ready to do his job. The rest of them look like they've been out on a hard night, especially the guy sat next to him there. He's very slouched, but here we go.
Here we have the 5 red lights, and we are racing at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and MDJ has had an amazing start, courtesy of a jump start. He'll be coming through the pits very soon for a drive-through penalty. Meanwhile, Nova and Owen behind going side by side. Delal, Schizo 3 has to try and take control. I think he has taken control of the car in a very, very awkward position. Luckily, no incidents have occurred. but into turn number 5, onto the back straight for the first time. That's a wide Mercedes of Delol. He's going to lose out to Martin. As Merck going past Stinos. This is for the net lead of the race, because MDJ will have to serve that drive-through within 3 laps. He's going to have to get his skates on to build as big a gap as he can. Further back, Nova is fighting with Victor, and we've also got Delol and Martin side by side. I think a touch of contact, but all fair racing. Meanwhile, the Ferrari and the Alpine still side by side through turn 8. It looks like Nova should be able to get that job done, as Delol is fighting off Reshka for that 11th place. We'll have a look at tyres very shortly once everything calms down just a little bit. And Nova looking at Reshka, we've got a yellow flag, and that's Mercked. Mercked is round through turn number 9.
Yeah, I didn't quite catch what. I think he's obviously just lost it on his own there. Schizophrenia running wide slightly further down the line as well. But yeah, maybe it's easy to do at that corner to lose the back end. He is on the hard tyres as well. So maybe that lack of grip on those hard tyres is told there on that opening lap.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, most of the grid on hard tyres, actually, only 3 medium runners. They are Stinos, Ashtube and Schizofree. Obviously, Schizofree didn't really have a choice in what tyres he selected. Meanwhile, Stinos is right behind MDJ, and you kind of have to feel for MDJ, there's not really much point in fighting Stinos with that drive-through penalty attached to him. Meanwhile, 3 wide through turn 5. Nova, Delol, Reshka. Oh, and a lot of movement from Delol down the back straight, as Victor was looking for a move as well. Almost made it 3 wide once again. Looks like Schizofree going past there around the background. But this is still interesting. Fighting Victor down the inside of Reshka. We've also got the Alpine and the Mercedes. Oh, contact between the Alpine and the Mercedes. And Delol goes round at turn number 7, that is. Meanwhile, Ashtube is fighting with Ghost. Ghost looking to the inside of turn 9 on the later apex. Just can't quite get the power down enough to take the place back.
Delol's gone round again into the barriers. Same corner as Mo. Looked like a reset there as well, unfortunately, to track. So he was facing the wrong way, and then he magically was facing the correct way. So yeah, not ideal, that one for Delol, unfortunately. Yeah, he was a bit unlucky at the previous chicane. It was just a bit of a racing tap, really, to be honest. And he did hold the slide, saved it, and just joined the back of that pack, to be honest. But yeah, obviously then the spin further on has massively hampered him. But yeah, it's all getting a little bit spicy out there in the mid-pack.
It is. In the meantime, Stinos has taken the lead from MDJ. I mean, you couldn't really write that start for MDJ. I mean, he's been plagued with bad luck most of the season, and it happens once again. Like I say, it was a terrific start, but for the wrong reasons.
Yes, yeah, it was, and I'd be interested to know whether or not that was an issue he had with his equipment, or whether or not that was just a genuine mistake from him. But yeah, very keen, and it wasn't, it was a very, very early jump start as well. It wasn't like a minute one. He'd gone a long time before those lights went green, so maybe just trying to predict the lights going out. Yeah, as I say, a bit of a disaster. I think he's got to serve at the end of this lap as well, so it's going to plummet him down the leaderboard a bit. Yeah,
meanwhile, Schizofree takes 9th place from Victor as he tries to start making his way back up. He's got to make use of those medium tyres that the AI have selected for him to start on. In the meantime, MDJ is in the pits for his drive-through. It's going to be a bit of a long night now for MDJ, although we've seen him come back from similar sorts of positions.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's almost a godsend really for Stinos now, because the one car that was in DRS range has gone, and now Rock Lee is a second and a half behind Stinos, so no DRS for the Alfa Romeo chasing down the Ferrari. And now all it's going to be is a huge gaggle of cars attacking Rock Lee. So this is a fantastic opportunity for Stinos to sort of check out and sort of disappear down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have to think about Merckx as well. I mean, turn 9 is an easy corner to get wrong to spin the car, especially on those hard compound tyres, as Nova gets past Victor. But I think Victor's going to pick up DRS to try and come back at him up towards turn number 9. It says Nova also has DRS, but he doesn't have any ERS left because of those flashing lights in the back of the car. So he's burnt through his ERS very quickly in this race.
Yeah, it's very surprising to have got through it by the end of lap 4. I mean, that's not maybe tactically the best way of doing it, but maybe he's felt he's had to do that in order to stay in a good position in this race, and try and recoup a little bit of ERS now as the race progresses. But Rockley actually is kind of holding a similar pace to Stinos ahead, so doing a great job, and he's on those hard tyres as well. So the longer that Rockley can hold off the guys behind or Ash Tube on the medium tyres, and the further this race progresses, maybe into the early sort of or maybe 11, 12, 13 laps into this race, those hards are going to be far better than those mediums of Stinos in front. So yeah, not too bad really for Rockley at the moment. I think he'll be quite pleased with his position.
There's Ghost looking at the back of Ash Tube at the moment. Ash Tube looking to the inside of Rockley. We're on board with Ghost. A little touch of front wing to rear wheel contact, but Ash Tube is through. It's a bad corner exit for Rockley as well, out of the turn 7. And Ghost is going to get boxed in there behind Ash Tube as Rockley looks to go down the outside of the Red Bull. Isn't quite going to happen. Thought he was going to try and do a switchback on the Red Bull. And I think Ghost thought that as well as he backed out of that. But Ash Tube now running out of ERS as Ghost just gives a little love tap to Rockley going into turn 12.
Yeah, it was literally about to say the same thing about Ash Tube out of ERS as well. So very surprising that some of the guys are using it up this early in the race. Excellent racing. But all that has done, that's given Stinos an extra second up the road. So that's not ideal for the guy, for Rockley being overtaken now and dropping him now out of the head of that field. But to be honest, I think we saw this last time out. I don't think it's going to be long. And it looked like then Ash Tube backed out of it to let Rockley through before the DRS detection zone. And there we have it. There goes DRS for Rockley and Ghost. For Ash Tube and Ghost, sorry.
Question is, what will Ghost do? I think Ghost is going to play the game now into the chicane. Don't overtake the Red Bull. Wait for it. Be a bit patient, and you'll get your reward afterwards. Rescue gets past ARL. The problem is, when you're in this sort of pack, in this sort of train, you don't have a choice whether you to overtake the car ahead or not as Ghost goes through into second. It's very hard to start playing games if you've got cars behind you, because they will probably just overtake you and disturb your rhythm anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of difficult because you kind of have to play the game now, though. And obviously, as I say, Stinos is going to be absolutely loving this at the moment. It's just disappeared down the road while these guys all try and decide who's going to overtake. A yellow flag in sector 3 looks like the low again, and a magical moving dot on the map again. So you kind of can get drawn into that game, but obviously the longer you get drawn into the game, the guy that's at the front of the field that isn't involved is just going to shoot off down the road, and that is exactly what's happening right now.
Absolutely, and it was a good battle there for pretty much the whole of sector 3 for ARL and Reshka. They went side by side through turn 9, and it didn't actually finish until turn 14 at Latifi. So that's a good little battle here between the two sister Red Bull teams. It's not quite like real life. Reshka won't be told to move out of ARL's way, as Delol has gone off at turn 2, and we have the safety car.
Yeah, so that is 100% not what Stinos would have wanted. However, can he come in the pits and complete 22 laps on the hard tyres, bearing in mind that only a couple of those laps are going to be on the safety car as well? So opportunity here maybe for the medium tyre runners to get to hards and get a free pit stop out of this.
I mean, the other thing potential is they could go mediums, but they would have to stop again for maybe softs near the end, or some fresher hards. I think we saw in our tier a few weeks back that fresh tyres at the end of the race were massively advantageous.
exactly, and I believe it was very randomly a medium hard strategy that paid off for the race winner actually. So soft tires weren't even involved in it. So yeah, yeah, a good opportunity. Obviously, as you say now, Ghost is in the pits, Stinos in the pits, everyone in the pits except for Owen, Bjorn, Ashtube, who are continuing on.
Yeah, which is interesting from Ashtube's point of view on the basis he's on the medium tyre. And that's an interesting strategy from ARL. He's decided he wants to go fast. And he's actually managed to beat Reshka out of the pits.
I can only assume that's the extra grip of the soft tyres out of the pit box that's done that. But yeah, very. It's an unusual one to beat people out of the pit box on this game because it's fairly sort of even kilter on the pit lane on the pit stop time.
Well,
so
especially when the way the lobby setup means that you get those unsafe releases, so cars obviously go out into paths of others. Whereas obviously in real life you'd have to wait for them as well.
Absolutely. Looking at the tyres here, so Stinos has gone for the hard tyres to get himself to the end of the race. But a few of the guys that were on mediums have come. I think have some of them come back in for mediums. Trying to see who there was now that was on them in the first place.
There was only 3 medium runners, which was Ashtube, Stinos, and Schizo. So I think everyone that was hard is now gone onto a softer compound.
Yeah, no one fancying the none of the original sort of the medium tyre runners there. Sorry, the hard tyre runners fancying going for a 2-stop, but yeah, obviously ARL's plumbing for that 2-stop. He's got no choice. He's not going to make 20 laps on the set of softs.
Well, it's the sort of thing that will the mediums do 20 laps? Surely they won't.
No, I don't think they will. And Victor coming in the pits now. He's on 0 lap old mediums. Interesting to see what it changes. Looks like he's changing to hard tyres.
Problem is though, I think they are new hard tyres. Allegedly.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe he has come into the race with a harder compound strategy for the race, and has those tyres available to him. So,
I mean, it would explain because he didn't actually really come out and set a time in qualifying. He kind of just stayed in the pits. So that would make sense because if you go hard on the compounds, I think you only get 2 sets of soft tyre. So that would make some sense, and it does mean that he's now also run the 2 compounds that he's had to run.
Yes, just even by just doing that 1 lap and the safety car, in theory, that should count as running your secondary compound. So, yeah, an interesting tactical choice. I mean, technically, obviously, getting that free pit stop in theory it means he's had to drop into the back of the field. But yeah, I mean, he just needs to keep this sensible now. ARL has left the session, unfortunately. Which is a big shame. The safety car in at the end of this lap.
Yeah, nice early call here at Abu Dhabi because of the way where that second sector line is. Cameron Zoe, welcome to the stream. So if you have just joined, this is the Invictus Racing League Tier 1 in partnership with gridfinder.com and Ventura Studios. ARL rejoins. This is round number 10 at Abu Dhabi, and we're just about to go back to green flag racing after our first safety car of the night. The question is, Ashtube leading the pack, when does he go?
Yeah, we'll be interested. It's not a position we see much this season with Ashtube at the head of the field. Leading off for the safety car. Obviously Bjorn and Owen on the older hard tyre, or on the 8 lap old hard tyre Pine as well. Stinos, Ghost and Rockley are going to be very, very much all over these guys in the front, but they have to be careful when they pick their way through the field not to get involved in any mischief, really. And Martin in 7th, a fantastic effort from him. I mean, in theory he's a net 4th at the moment, so yeah, brilliant effort.
And here we go then. Ashtube releases the leash on his speed just out, well, about halfway between the last corner and the start finish line. And it's a good restart, 0.3 of a second as Nova is going side by side with Martin. Brave through turn 3, and here comes Schizo looking to the outside of Martin as well, down towards turn number 5. Martin's still looking to the inside of Nova, but he's not quite going to get that done, and Nova should get a better drive. Meanwhile, Beyond a Boa on the back, now on the side of Ashtube, and Owen making it 3 wide. Is that 4 wide? Stinos comes steaming through.
Ghost had blimey, Rockley has just thrown one up the inside of Ghost. Caught Ghost napping. It looked like a fair move, to be honest. Ghost ready to get a switch back, and Rockley was like, yeah, I'll have some of that, thank you very much. And now it looks like Nova's riding outside of them as well. This is absolute chaos.
Looks like Owen was looking to the outside. It says, a few cars with some huge twitches. That looked like Beyond a Boa and... Ghost. Rockley sends one up the inside of Beyond a Boa at turn 12.
Yeah, Rockley is meaning business here at the moment. He is absolutely sending it. That's very tight against the wall there for Nova.
Ghost will take advantage of that.
Squeeze.
Lots of jostling for position here on the first lap, and they're still going as... looks like Nova looking to go to the outside of Beyond a Boa, coming up towards turn number 1. Oh, it looks like contact. Oh, and that's a front wing gone for Beyond a Boa.
Big shame there for Beyond a Boa, and that is another safety car. So, yeah, disaster really for Beyond a Boa in a way. However, the safety car is going to save him. I believe the safety car is purely because his front wing has fallen off.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why it's been called out, but I'm sure the marshals could have probably picked that up whilst they were on the rest of the lap, because they're not exactly spread out.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't exactly on the racing line, I'm going to be honest. That I mean, depending, if you've seen some of us lower down in the tiers, it's kind of close to our racing line, but for the guys in tier 1, it wasn't on their racing line, so yeah, big surprise. But yeah, Stinos has done what he needed to do, and that is to make his way quickly through the guys in front of him. Got a nice buffer now with Owen and Ashtube behind him. You'd have to think now surely Ashtube is going to come in the pits and put the hard tyres on to get his mandatory stop out of the way.
Yeah. It just depends whether Owen does now as well, because I mean it's still a long way for those medium tyres. Or whether he feels that because pretty much everyone behind, maybe apart from Schizofree and Victor, are pretty much going to have to make a pit stop, whether he's thinking he'll stay out, and technically he's still net second right now.
Yeah, I mean, an option maybe for big slow for Owen there as usual, just doing his Colin McRae impressions once again, and he's coming in the pits. It'll be interesting. He's obviously going to go to mediums, but the option is there for a medium run if he feels that he can make the most of 2 sets of fresh mediums. But Owen in the pits and Ashtube in the pits. Nova in as well. Obviously Bjorn's had to come in for a new front wing anyway. So, yeah, this is going to change things up a bit. ARL up to 5th on those soft tyres.
Yeah, obviously still going to have to make that pit stop.
Yeah, let's not forget Merck slowly creeping his way up the leaderboard. Not really getting involved in anything, just watching it all sort of unfold. Okay, Nova has been disqualified. Has he spun it in the pits?
I think he might have actually, or has he gone into the wall at the pit lane?
It says he was disqualified. I can only assume maybe, yeah, his car was moving again. It was blocking Beyond a Boa on the way out of the pits, but he must have maybe made a mistake in the pit lane under the tunnel. And he's out of the race, I'm afraid.
So interesting scenes. That's a bit of a shame for Nova because he was looking quite quick during this race, but lap 12 under safety car once again, and Stinos now has Rockley behind. He's going to have a little bit of a job to fend off those medium tyre runners in the early parts of the restart.
Absolutely, and we did see how feisty Rockley was there at the restart there. He just, excellent driving, really opportunistic driving, and yeah, just seeing the gap, going for it, and making it pay off. So, yeah, he'll obviously be looking to get past Stinos as quickly as he can. Looks like he has good pace today, Rockley, as well. But for the strategy he's on, really, he's going to have to get past and get off down the road in case he does need to come in for another pit stop. ARL in the pits.
So lap 13. 0 in the pits. Medium tyres on the Red Bull. 16 laps. I mean, with the lap and the safety car.
You'd have to think that's a bit more in the window of what the tyres are capable of doing, really, wouldn't you? He's not. The other guys are going to be upwards of around 20 laps by the time they get to the finish. So, yeah, 15 is still going to be, not too pleasant towards the end, but I think it's definitely a lot more doable.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, Stinos, I think now we can pretty much confirm Stinos are definitely, all the hard runs are definitely going to be going to the end now. Those tyres will make it to the end at this point.
Yeah, definitely. I think. Yeah, unless obviously another safety car comes out, I don't think you'll see much change from that now. It could be interesting, like you say, that being on fresher tyres is a massive advantage around here towards the latter stage of a race. So it will be interesting if anyone does try something slightly different as a safety car is coming in at the end of this lap.
Yeah, so safety car in this lap. The question is, obviously, Ashtube went about halfway between the last corner and the start-finish line. Where will Stinos go? Because I mean, I think a lot of people were expecting Ashtube to go a lot earlier than he did. So the question is, will Stinos go earlier or will he go later? I mean, it could be interesting to see.
Yeah, definitely. He's going to want to get this right, being on the harder tyres, because Rockley's going to have better purchase than him out of the corners for a fair few laps now. So, yeah, this is all about getting the timing right for Stinos.
And Stinos goes now, and he's caught Rockley napping. As we go through the final couple of corners, 7/10 a gap. It's a good restart from the Ferrari as they head towards turn 1 for the first time in this effective third portion of the race, as Mert goes past Schizofree straight away, making those medium tyres work for him.
Yeah, he's going to need to get on with it now, Mert, to get himself up through the field as much as he can. Obviously, still a great restart, but the tyres of Rockley are going to give him that extra grip now, so I expect that gap to close on this lap. And it's closing very quickly now down this straight.
Yeah, make sure of Rockley just using a little bit of ERS to close into the back of the leader. As Victor going down the inside of Schizofree. Remember, no DRS for 2 laps. Couldn't quite. Getting with it.
Little slide for Rockley there. Thought he was going to lose it, but held onto it very, very well as he tried to switch back on Stinos.
Interesting. I think Owen went very wide through turn 9, trying to get past Victor. And it's cost him a few places. He's down to 11th. More Ghost on the back of Rockley. We know how dangerous Ghost can be in terms of his pace in Tier 1. Mert with the fastest lap. Mert looking to just try and get up this order.
Yeah, definitely. MDJ looking quite racy here against Martin. I think he's going to want to clear him as quickly as he can to get on the tail of Ghost. But Martin's having commentators curse, but Martin's having a fantastic race, possibly one of the best races we've seen him have so far this season.
Yeah, I mean, he had good pace in the first round as MDJ goes down the inside of him. Picks up that place for 4th. So MDJ, I mean, these two safety cars have really worked out well for him. As Owen going backwards. Looks like a spin at the chicane. But yeah, I mean, this has really worked out for MDJ now after his drive-through earlier on. Right back in that pack in 4th place and looking at some good points again.
Yeah, it just goes to show, just persevere really with the race, and you just never really know what's going to happen. We wouldn't have put any money on there being 2 safety cars tonight, and yeah, that's definitely brought him back in schizo free with a 3-second penalty there, unfortunately for him. But yeah, it just, as I say, it goes to show you just keep plugging away. You just never know. And MDJ really, looking at this now and looking what tyres people are on, he's definitely a main sort of podium contender now to the end of this race.
Merckx behind SFR Martin into turn 5. Same tyres, same age. Both have DRS, but look at Merckx. He's going past whether Martin likes it or not. Up into 5th for the championship protagonist. Victor going past Schizo free.
It's all bunched up at the front. We had a slight tap from Rockley on Sinos. Just a racing incident really, but yeah, Rockley's going to get a run on Sinos now. Everyone else was lining up behind them. And yeah, Rockley now into the lead. Now his task is going to be to get away now while he can on one of those medium tyres and maybe have a slight performance advantage over Sinos' hard tyres.
Yeah, that's the task in hand, but that's very much easier said than done. When Stos is behind you, he's going to have to break DRS this lap to even think about getting away. As MDJ now coming under increasing pressure from Merckx. Across the line to go, on to lap 17 of 29.
Absolutely, Martin also still hanging on the back of this group here, so it's all to play for. With these guys, ARL only up to 12th at the moment on those mildly fresher tyres than some of the guys in front. But yeah, here we go. I mean, a 5-car, 6-car DRS train will still try and make the overtake now. I think he almost has to, otherwise he's going to come under threat from Ghost. But he's backing off. He is backing off, and here comes Ghost, who's backing off as well.
No one wants to overtake into the chicane. It looks like the top 5 all have the same idea. But if anything, because of that, Ghost is now under pressure from MDJ as Stinos goes past the Alfa Romeo. Ghost almost put himself under threat from MDJ there from playing that sort of game.
Absolutely, it's that sort of belief that the guy behind isn't just going to suddenly go, okay, then I'll go past you. Yeah, I was always expecting Ghost to try and catch Sinos by surprise, because then Ghost would still have had the DRS down the back straight. So Ghost in 3rd now, if he'd have actually maybe gone for that move on Sinos while he was backing out, he could have actually potentially now been in the lead of this race. But then looking at this at the moment with 12 laps to go, do you really want to be in the lead of this race?
Well, I mean, I guess it depends. I mean, he's already broken DRS against Rock Lee, so if these guys start fighting again like they did before, I think it's a good idea this for Stinos to start breaking away.
Absolutely, as I say, will Ghost now be ruining that opportunity to overtake? Because yeah, he's obviously gone up to 2nd now. He's now overtaken at a point where the lap previous he didn't want to overtake, so maybe a bit unsure as to what his own strategy wants to be here. But this is the pack is closing right up now because of this. The game's going on up the front.
MDJ, we're going to look 3 wide into turn 9, and Rogley, probably the right move to do that, not go for that 3 wide in the middle. MDJ gets past Ghost up into 2nd place for the Williams. Merckx looking for a move on Rogley, can't quite find a gap. And all this is doing is Rogley now picks up 3 seconds worth of time penalties, which is not what you need in this tier.
No, absolutely. Especially with the way this race seems to be going at the moment, I think it's going to be very hard to break that 3 second gap on people. As Martin comes in the pits on 10-lap-old mediums, so I don't think there's any damage on his car. So is this attempt now, though, for Martin to put another set of mediums on? Which it is. And I think Victor's doing the same. Victor's doing the same as well. So maybe hoping they can make the performance of these the fresher mediums work. Maybe especially whilst all the games are going on at the front.
Ghost goes past MDJ, so his game plan has changed from backing off. Merc has passed Rock Lee. But yeah, Ghost's games have changed. He's no longer trying to stay behind. He's just going to go for it. But obviously now he'll come under threat from MDJ once again. Although it looks like the AlphaTauri a little bit slippery. Although Williams was closing in, but not quite enough.
Yeah, again, will MDJ want to make that move anyway at this point of the race? But it's again to a really awkward position now. Ghost actually closing the gap slightly to Stinos as well by a couple of seconds. Stinos quite wide there actually through Latifi's bend, so may have picked up a warning for that. That was kind of borderline, but yeah, Ghost is closing that gap. But yeah, it will be interesting now to see whether Martin, obviously 17 seconds behind Owen now, who's in 11th, whether he can make those mediums work for him while everyone's fighting at the front. A potential undercut here.
Yeah, and it could be a big undercut as well. If these guys end up pitting, the longer they stay out, obviously the more powerful the undercut tends to be as ARL gets past Bjorn de Boer. Still side by side actually, coming out of the hairpin. Both of DRS, but back at the front just in case. And it looks like MDJ not overtaking Ghost yet. Swing left, swing right. Try and get that traction down. Looks like Bjorn and Owen going at each other as well now. Here comes MDJ. He's going to take second place back. And it looks like Merck's going through on the inside, looking for double overtake. Beautiful move from the Aston Martin.
Yeah, possibly not what Stinos wanted to see on the leaderboard is the Aston of Merckx now behind him on the road. But again, we don't know yet whether Merck's going to have to pit again for tyres. We know Stinos can get to the end on those hard tyres. Can Merck drag these mediums out to the end of the race? I mean, I think if Merck tries, and I think you'll find the likes of MDJ, Ghost will also try, Rock Lee will also try. So there could be a lot of cars towards the end struggling for grip.
I guess the biggest problem now, if you're going to pit, if you don't pit now, you're going to leave yourself a lot of work to do in a short frame of time.
Absolutely. I'm looking now at Martin. He is closing the gap. Obviously, still 15 seconds behind Bjorn at the moment, but Bjorn is at the back end of this huge train, and Merck is within DRS now and has DRS open on Stinos. So yeah, Martin's closing the gap to this whole train of cars, and as we say, if a lot of these guys have to come in and pit again, Martin could be one to look out for here.
Down towards turn 9 for the 21st time in this race. Stinos looks like he's running out of ERS, as is MDJ, but it looks like that top three is starting to break away from the rest of the pack here. Ghost on the fringe of losing DRS at the moment.
Ghost, though, very strong through this sector here by the looks of it. He's brought the gap down by 1/10.5 there, just through those few corners alone. So maybe just running slightly higher wings, which is giving him the extra grip through the tighter corners towards the end of the lap. And he is still within DRS at the moment, so he'll be looking to try and keep that now as they go down to the hairpin at the bottom of the hill.
Absolutely, as they go through the first sector once again. And you see by the map just how long that train is, although Bjorn de Boer are now outside of that train. Back to the front, Stinos leading from Merck. Victor, I think that's his second lot of 3-second time penalties in the space of about 2 laps.
I think you're right. Yeah, you're obviously taking a lot of liberties with track limits at the moment. But here comes Merc on Sinos. Will he make the move? The answer is no. Just staying behind him. And yeah, MDJ also maybe looking to do the double overtake that maybe Merc did just a minute ago.
So into the second DRS zone, and here comes Merc as expected round the outside. MDJ not close enough though to make a challenge on the Ferrari, but Merc, who remember spun on lap number 1, he's now leading this race. It's been a brilliant little drive. I mean, very much helped by safety cars, but sometimes it goes that way for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes it goes against you, doesn't it? It does tend to balance out over time. Even though when it does go wrong for you in the safety car, it doesn't feel like that way. But yeah, the safety cars have helped Merc a little bit. But I think with it, his mistake being on lap 1, I wouldn't have been too surprised to have seen him sort of flirting with the top 5 at the moment anyway, as it stands. But yeah, no, excellent recovery so far from Merc. But again, still a lot of question marks over these tyres towards the end of this race.
So only 15 lap old tyres. They've done what, about 4 behind the safety car, I want to say. So probably 11 lap old tyres, maybe 12, just taking into account wear under the safety car. Still a lot of laps being put on these tyres, considering they probably wouldn't have wanted to pit until around lap 13 area if it was to stay green all the way.
Absolutely. Beyond the Ball has now dropped off the back end of this train by some distance. Yeah, first to 10th, all in a big long line. Owen, a massive snap, runs wide there, but rejoins. He's survived that one, but a little bit of a moment there for Owen. But I got to be honest, JPH, I wasn't expecting the race to be this close.
No, it's very, very close actually. I mean, with the newer layout of Abu Dhabi, brought in last year, it has made the at least the league racing anyway has been very, very close. It's just hard. I mean, you look at Merc, and this just shows just how hard it is to break from the train if you're at the front, because normally you'd expect Merc to get up the front, get to a second, and he'll be gone. He cannot get to that second gap.
No, exactly, and Stinos is going to close on him now. I think Stinos could well be back ahead at the end of the next DRS section. So, yeah, absolutely mad. Rockley just floating on the edge of that DRS. Breaks very late into there. It might be enough actually to give him DRS here, which it is. I think he went incredibly deep into the chicane, but it was enough to close the gap to give him the DRS, which is kind of almost smart driving, really. Yeah, mad how close this is. And Breshka in 8th position can see a podium just up the road, and yeah, I mean that would be a fantastic result for him. Obviously, he's still got a few positions to make up to make that happen. I think there'll be a lot of very happy drivers with how their races have gone tonight, even if they finish in only 10th, as Reshka gets a 3-second penalty, so I'm going to stop watching him.
Bruce, just cursing Reshka with the commentators curse. Standard procedure. We have to curse one person a race. I think that's the general rule. But as you can see, we still have a 10-car long train with the DRS. Rockley once again flirting with the gap. He'll be fine for this DRS. It probably doesn't help that his focus is probably behind on Schizo 3 rather than of those ahead of him, because Schizo 3 really is quite close to the Alfa Romeo. And speaking of close, here comes the Haas to the inside. Gets the move done, and it looks like he's going to stay in DRS as well to keep his train going. Good stuff there from Schizo 3. Question is now, are the tyres for Merc now starting to just cry just a little bit? ARL Owen going a little bit of side-by-side action there.
Yeah, I think we are getting to that point. Oh, big slider spin for Owen. Big shame there. Just took a little bit too much curb on the exit, and Owen has left the session.
Not ideal for Owen. I wouldn't have thought he'd bring out a safety car at this late of a stage. But we keep going. That 10-car train now down to 9. Still just 0.6 of a second.
I mean, is this now a waiting game? I did notice earlier Stinos was flashing a little bit. It's not ideal because we know that Merc generally can be quite good with conservation of ERS. However, that may be different tonight with the obviously the fact he's had to play back through the field after that early spin. So yeah, interesting to see. It could just be a waiting game now for Stinos to just sit behind him while he's not really being attacked by MDJ. Get that ERS boosted up, ready for a last lap assault, perhaps.
Yeah, absolutely. Top 3 covered by less than a second. Goes just 0.8 behind the top 3. He can see a podium. He can sense the podium. He's just not quite in that podium at the moment. And I'll tell you what, big winner here is going to be Ashtube because he's currently in 7th. But he's a provisional 5th right now with the track limit penalties taking place.
Absolutely, yeah. It's again for him. What does he do in this situation? Obviously, with Reshka behind with the penalty as well. Does he fight or does he just consolidate this? What would, as you say, be a 5th position? It'd be interesting to see what he does. Rockley starting to flash as well in front. So a lot of people run out of ERS. Obviously, this is when you're expecting to see it drained is towards the end of the race, but maybe a few laps from the end is a bit earlier than maybe some of them might have.
Oh, and MDJ to the inside. It's 3 wide into the chicane. And it looks like they're all going to stay in the same position, and MDJ runs a little bit wide. Rockley picks up 5 seconds of penalties for corner cutting. That's not ideal for him. Ghost and MDJ side by side up towards turn number 9 now. It looks like MDJ, can he get the throttle on early enough? We know the outside can be quicker. And Ghost still there. I think they touched a little bit there, going through turns 10, 11 into 12. Fantastic racing, good shot from the helicopter as well overhead. I looked like a little bit run wide, but I don't know if they maybe got hooked up a little bit between the two. I think Reshka's had an issue at turn 9, he's dropped to 11th. But that has dropped MDJ out of the DRS zone. And Stinos now 0.6 behind Merc. I thought potentially that might have taken Stinos out of DRS of Merc as well, because that was a little bit of a fight through that chicane. And ARL has spun, or at a moment, he's now going into the pits for a change of tyres.
Yeah, I was going for the fastest lap award here. Yeah, Rashka just had a big spin there. I didn't see whether anyone else was involved or not, but went quite a long way off at turn 9. So yeah, a big shame for Rashka after obviously we're praising him for doing so well during this race and looking like he's going to get an excellent result. It's all gone very wrong towards the end of this race for him, unfortunately.
Goes back up into P3. He's on the podium, and you get the feeling now that the lead of this race, it's a 2-horse race between a Ferrari and an Aston Martin, and Stinos is currently in the lead of that race. As he overtakes Merc into turn 9, do we feel that Stinos thinks that his tyres are now good enough that he can start to try and break away, but he's got no ERS available? He'll be vulnerable in the DRS zones.
I think the one person who's going to be ruining a penalty here at the moment is Skitstofree in 5th place on harder tyres, which at this point of the race are going to be better than the mediums of the guys in front. But that 3-second penalty is going to drop him down a couple of places. Could well have been fighting for a podium here on this last lap.
I mean, Rockley flirting with that 3 seconds as well to Skitstofree, so Skitso might only lose a place here. if he can build up that gap. But we're going to focus at the front because Merck is now 6.5 tenths behind, 6 tenths behind into turn number 5. You have to feel that Merck will not overtake until the second DRS zone because of the lack of ERS for Stinos.
Absolutely, yeah. It's gonna be difficult here, I think, just even with just DRS alone for Stinos to back him up. Unless he sort of stops on the apex here a little bit, but he's not done that. A little bit wide though for Merck. Out of the chicane. I still think it's going to be very hard though for Stinos to hold Merck off to the top corner here.
Here we go, and here comes Merck to the outside of turn 9. Job done. And that little bit of curve that Stinos just took, I think, may have... Oh! A bit wide. And I think a bit of debris just went loose in the trio behind. Meanwhile, Stinos still right on the back of Merck. I don't really see another opportunity for him as we come up towards the last couple of corners. It will be Merck who hangs on for this win. And Merck comes across the line. He wins the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix from Stinos. Ghost claims a podium. MDJ will claim 4th. Ashtube 5th. Schizo3 in 6th. Brock Lee 7th. Bjorn de Boer in 8th. And 8th, 7th for Bjorn de Boer. SFR Martin in 8th. Rock Lee dropping down to 9th after his penalties. Victor in 9th. Rock Lee apparently has retired after he's crossed the start-finish line.
Yeah, I think Rock Lee's AI collected MDJ's car and it's insta-retired him, which I'd say obviously that result not quite right. I believe.
But Victor takes driver of the day. Merck takes the lead of the championship.
Yeah, not as straightforward as I'm sure you'd have liked it to be, but still comes out of here now 7 points ahead. I didn't see actually. Did ARL get the fastest lap then at the end? I'm not really sure. Find out shortly, but yeah, excellent for Merck. Reska got fastest lap then at the end, but unfortunately in 11th place. Yeah,
it looks like ARL had rear wing damage, which, as we know, once you get that, it's very, very hard to get any sort of pace out of the car because the back end just wants to keep moving away from you. But Bruce, would you like to take us through the provisional race results?
Absolutely, yeah. So a less than simple way of doing it, but Merck once again, fantastic win for him with Stinos an excellent second in the Ferrari. Ghost in the AlphaTauri, I'm sure he'll be delighted with 3rd, MDJ in 4th in the Williams. Ashtube 5th in the Red Bull with Schizophrenia, an excellent 6th for him in the Haas. Beyond the Boar 7th, SFR Martin 8th, JR Victor 9th, ARL 10th, Reska 11th, Rockley down as 12th. I think he may actually be somewhere around 7th or 8th actually, but the game had a little glitch. Owen retired towards the end with DeLol, and Nova also retiring from the race.
Absolutely. I mean, Nova kind of got disqualified by the game for some form of pit lane blocking infringement, which is not really the best way of ending your race.
No, very unfortunate for him. It did sound like he almost he was at a point that he was about to get going again, and it did retire him. So, yeah, big shame for him. But an excellent race. I mean, at one point now, a 10-car DRS train towards the end is absolutely fantastic. Yeah,
it's good to see the pace of this tier kind of really closing in with everyone. It's the start of the season, it was very much like, the Aston Martins have gone again, the Aston Martins have gone. And the last few races, it definitely feels like the pack has gotten tighter.
Yeah, definitely. And, it just sort of showed tonight, really. There were people tonight that haven't really shown at the front, or, towards the higher end of the points this season. And they were, making a good name for themselves tonight. Big shame for Martin, trying something slightly different didn't quite pay off, but he was closing the gap to the tail end of the group, but I think it was just a little bit too much there to do towards the end for him.
Absolutely. Well, we have got Ghost in the party for some interviews, so welcome, Ghost. Congratulations on your 3rd place. Another podium to add to your collection. But I mean, that was a really tough battle throughout the whole race between yourself, MDJ, Malc, Stinos, Rockley. It was just generally a race-long tough battle.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It was. I feel like I said in Discord chat just now, if I'd had a little bit more luck go my way that race, I didn't get like something went horribly wrong or someone took me out or anything like that. It's just a couple of battles just didn't quite go my way, and I got squeezed out or boxed in at crucial times, and it just set me back too much to be able to get back into it. So I feel like I maybe could have even won that one, because the pace was really good. All 4 of us were really even at the end there. Other than exit of turn 7, I couldn't get right. But no, I'm still very happy with to get on the podium there, getting MDJ at the end on the last lap. That was quite satisfying. But yeah, it was a tough one for sure.
And obviously with that early safety car, obviously you went from hards to mediums like a lot of the drivers done. At that point in the race, were you thinking of a potential 2-stop from that point? Because obviously mediums to the end of that point looked very, very far-fetched.
Not really. I mean, it was never really an option to stop again, I don't think, because I would have had to fight through so many drivers, and the DRS train is so difficult to make heads or tail of on this track. So I think all the time I would have gained, probably theoretically on a clear track, it was faster to pit again. But having to fight back through everyone again, I would never have gotten back to the front, I don't think. So it was all about management of the tires and making sure I didn't do anything stupid, like get oversteer in points where I shouldn't, and just keep taking care of them, I suppose. But yeah, there were a few moments where I got like phantom bumps on entries to corners in braking zones. I think twice. That once at turn 5, and once at turn 6. So I don't know what that was about, and I just went straight on. But no, I survived.
That's the main thing. Bruce, any questions for Ghost?
Yeah, well done on the podium tonight. We sort of saw towards the tail end of that race, there was a moment, I think, down the first DRS section there, where I think you had an opportunity to maybe get, I think, past Stinos to then potentially attack Rock Lee, but it looked like you chose to stay behind. You then dropped, I think, back behind someone a little bit, and then from then on we saw you attacking then into that chicane rather than waiting for the next section. How difficult was it to sort of decide the best way to play that game, with obviously the second DRS part being the preferable overtake?
That's very well spotted, because that happened to me twice this race, where I held back going into that chicane, and then on the outside someone just went straight past me on the exit, and there was nothing I could do because I stayed behind them, so I had to slow down, and the car behind just took the advantage because I was going so slow, took the space and got past. So I learned my lesson eventually, but it was annoying. That was one of the things I was talking about, of just not going quite my way, because I got caught behind Stinos and Rockley, I think it was, like you said, and then I think it was MDJ that just sailed past me on the exit. So I was just like, okay, that's the last straw now. I'm not going to concede into that corner again. I'm either going to make sure I stay far enough back that I won't have to slow down going through, or just go for it. So, but the opportunity never came again. So, yeah, but no, it was a little annoying at that corner, but I just got outsmarted through there a couple of times, which was a bit annoying. But yeah, learned from it, and made sure I didn't make moves into there again afterwards, because I knew my exit from turn 7 was really bad compared to those top 3 at the end. So I had to make sure I was stuck behind and made the move into turn 9 instead, and it worked quite well at the end. So I'm happy. It's good to be back here.
Absolutely is. It's always good to have a small chat, but I'll give you one more question, not about tonight's race, but obviously looking forward to the rest of the season. We have 5 more rounds. The next one at China next week. Obviously, it's a bit of a long period for you guys because I mean, even though you kind of had a semi-break week from the first Abu Dhabi running, it's never really a break week because you did do some running. I mean, it's always difficult to go sort of 10, 11 rounds in a row, but how are you feeling about that? And obviously your thoughts on China for next week?
Yeah, I don't mind it so much. I mean, Wednesday night's a decent night for me, but it won't be for the rest of the season, I think. So I'll probably be coming in with very little practice for the rest of the season. So I think it'll be interesting how I go. But then that's what I did for Singapore, and it went well until my car exploded when I tapped the wall. So yeah, no, I'm not too flapped by it because I'm going to be coming in with no practice, I think, anyways, for the rest of the season. And as far as China goes, I haven't raced on there in forever, so it's going to be fun. I don't know how my pace is going to be. We'll have to find out, but yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what I can do. Hopefully, get a race win. I haven't had one since when I won the title. So yeah, it would be good to get back on the top step. I feel like I could have done it last week. I feel like I could have done it this week. So maybe the time's coming.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on your podium, Ghost. Always good to have a chat. Just looking at the other podium runners, was Stinos, who was second. His quality lap was pretty good. Started on the mediums. He says his quality lap was pretty good. I'd say it was very good on the basis it put him on pole. He started on the mediums, so he hopefully could pull a gap, which is what he done. But the safety car then came out. After that, he was looking after the tyres for the rest of the race and playing some DRS games. He made some mistakes in the last lap, so he wasn't able to hold on to the lead. But it was fun battling for the win on the last lap. And Merck saying pace was really good this race. Made a massive error on lap 1, which didn't help his race, but thankfully had some safety cars which got him back into the pack. And he was able to make some good moves. Congrats to the podium. Obviously, Merck's the race winner. But Bruce, well, just to kind of finish up on the stream, another fantastic race, and it looks like this sort of stuff's going to be continuing for the remaining third of the season.
Yeah, hopefully so. As I say, obviously the Aston's now not quite wrapped up, but they're getting closer and closer. But yeah, it's a shame really that they didn't have the challenge that they're getting now at the start of the season. But it is good to see that everyone's improving, seemingly improving. I don't think the Astons are getting slower. I think everyone is just getting a bit better. And yeah, hopefully, like you say, they can give us a good few sort of last 5 races this season. But it also bodes well for next season. Hopefully, they can sort of challenge from the start, and we'll have a lot more race winners.
Absolutely, but that is all the time we have for tonight. Fantastic night's racing, and we go again next week as all the tiers come back off of break week. So next Monday we have tiers 3 and 4. That's on Monday 8 o'clock, with tier 2 on Tuesday with Joe Hamster and I believe Nitrogash. We're back on the Wednesday for more tier 1 action, and then RP will be on Thursday next week, brought to you by Jack TM53 Synopsis and myself. It proves to be a very good week's worth of racing to come, so make sure you do join all of those streams that are available on the Invictus Racing League YouTube channel. And speaking of that, if you have been watching tonight and you have liked what you've seen, don't forget to like the stream. Also subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss another live race of the season or future seasons to come. And yeah, it's going to be an absolute belter. But from myself and Bruce, thank you for watching. This has been the Invictus Racing League Tier 1 in partnership with gridfinder.com and Venturi Studios. We hope you all have a very good evening.